One. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Strege, and here in the room with me, I have my lovely friend Boris, all the way from Croatia.
Hello again.
Just moments ago, we were on about another exciting film from Hungary. Only this time, this one is directed by József Gallai from 2018. And I believe that his production company is Lazy Cat Productions, I think. Lazy Cat Films, and also worked with HEPA Films and Alex Pictures for this particular film. And the location or locations of this short film were in Veszprém, Hungary, as well as Bacony Hills. So I don't know. I don't know if you know where those are, but those were the filming locations for this particular film. Let me do a small synopsis of this short film before we go into first impressions.
Okay.
Let's see. Strange entities begin to haunt a middle-aged man and his infant son in a remote cabin in the woods. So, why don't you tell me your first impressions of this film, and
Well,
what did you think about it?
before I go on about my first impressions, I would like to apologize once again if anyone who is watching this was watching our previous discussion, which didn't end very well because of my internet connection not working properly. I'm really sorry about that. Now I reset my router, so I hope it's going to work now. I cannot guarantee, but I hope we won't have more glitches tonight. But yeah, now
When
about
when you do so much on the internet and that all at once, sometimes it just comes back in full capacity to haunt you.
I guess.
But
Yeah,
that's why we're on here talking about echoes,
uh, indeed.
which is the name
So,
of this short film. So what did you think about echoes?
uh, I think it was pretty good. It really takes some skills to make a movie where much more is said through pictures than dialogue. Actually, there isn't much dialogue in the movie at all. Most of it we get through just video sequences with not much being said. Which I have to say, I found it a little confusing. We saw it twice, and the
Correct.
first time, yeah, the first time I was watching it, I struggled a bit to keep track of what is real, what is not, what is present, what is past. But yeah, that's me. I do tend to get a bit lost in movies like this, but I still do see the artistic value of that. And like I said, it really takes some skill to create a movie like this. It was pretty good, and after watching it for the second time, I understood it much better actually. And
I well, because we were watching it together again. It had been a while since I'd seen the film myself, and I personally have not gone on and related my thoughts to my YouTube page about it yet. Even yet, I don't think. I meant to, but I just figured, what the heck? While we're doing the other one, why not do this one? It's short enough. So, uh,
Well, yeah.
but this one was longer than Vaults, obviously. But it told a storyline of what I thought. I mean, I thought the child. Well, there was this middle-aged man, of course, and we don't know his name per se. Um,
There
let
was
me see if it says anything thing on. Okay, so
uh,
let's see. Okay, so the the man was played by Sean Michael Clanky. Um, but there is several different storylines and time periods, I think, related in this film. There are at least one or two ghosts. And
yeah.
it appears that there are one or two killers. Because we, how do I put this? We have a man
Uh,
who is taking care of an infant child. Whether it's his son or not, if you didn't read the storyline plot, we just assume later on that the child has been stolen from its mother. So the fact that the IMDb thing says, well, it's his infant son, well, makes me think that okay, maybe he had a relationship with a young woman, and she had left him, and he stole the child to have as his own. He just so happens to be a have the past of being a killer, and he ends up being disturbed by some of the things that he's done in his past, and is haunted by some of the victims of his past, and also it seems that there are some people looking for some of the victims of his past. So it's a very intriguing story because you got his feelings of loss, his feelings of maybe dealing with his demons, and then of course some of the aftermath of some of the things that he's done, and then of course there's his past catching up to him. So
uh,
what did you think of all of this now that you've heard what I've said? Do you think I'm correct about all of this?
Yes, I do think you are, although I also think that aside of his psychological issues, and well, some things are probably flashbacks and hallucinations, I think there is also a paranormal aspect to this story after all, because, well, spoiler alert. At the end, we actually see a ghost woman carry a child out where the police would find the baby. So apparently, some ghosts were real after all.
Correct. I mean, some are helpful and some are malignant. Some are violent, and I think one of those ghosts was, in fact, the part of him that which was a killer, and he's trying to dispose of that past by maybe taking care of his son. And but the thing is I think he killed his significant other, or maybe he just entirely imagined that he had a relationship with one of his victims, and he's imagining these thoughts that she said, "Take care of my child. He is imagining this love that it appears that he had for her. Like after she's dead, why are we seeing these moments where he hugs her and she puts her head on his shoulder, and why is it that we see her looking off into the sunset with him? Why are we seeing these images of him having a relationship with her if he did not have one? Maybe it's just a fantasy in his mind, you know, that he had
Oh,
of one of her after he'd killed her and took her child. But then again,
oh,
she doesn't look
well,
like the missing person on that poster. This woman that he keeps having flashbacks about. What do you think about that?
oh, well, yeah, a lot in this movie is, from what I understood, left up to interpretation. Now, I could be wrong. Well, maybe I should watch this movie a few more times in order to catch up on every single detail and connect the dots properly. But from what I understood, yeah, I might be wrong, but I think that he did have a relationship with this one woman, but it ended badly. He supposedly ended up killing her, maybe in the heat of an argument or something like that. And I think he was possibly traumatized by what he did, which somehow made him, as there was this newspaper's article at the end where we find out that he was responsible for disappearance of multiple women and children. So possibly as he was reliving his trauma over and over again, he ended up kidnapping women and
It's
doing
also
the same.
possible that the child we see with him is not, in fact, his infant child. Maybe he killed his significant other while she was still pregnant, and to make up for the loss of that child, he ended up killing more women and kidnapping more children. So it
Oh,
it's possible it could have gone down that route too. Where he's trying to make up for lost victims that he has killed. I mean, it doesn't really say. That's why it's an interpretive film. So,
yeah, yeah,
as you said.
yeah. Who knows? It could mean many things indeed.
So, what did you think about the main actor? Do you think he acted it pretty good?
Yes, he definitely did. He did a good job playing this role of
The one
mentally
character
disturbed
that kind
man.
of the one character that kind of stood out to me was the father that came looking for his daughter. I was trying to connect the dots of which girl he was looking for, because it almost looks like it almost seems like there's three different victims. There's the missing girl that we see on the photograph in the beginning. Then we see the short-haired girl. Her body is getting dragged by a killer with a skull mask.
Yeah.
And then of course we see the woman that this man appears to have a relationship with, but then again we see her dead body laying up against a tree later, but we see moments of like embracing and her actually telling him, take care of my child, take care of our son, or something like that. But you don't know whether if these are memories or if these are fantasies. So,
Oh.
sometimes people can have the most wild imaginations. I
Mm, he did.
mean, let's say it was just you and your mother living together, okay, that your father wasn't even in existence. and say suddenly, at least she died. Well, you could, in your mind, take a whole different journey where you're,
Mm.
if she died, you could imagine a life where she was actually still living, and you just keep going about your daily existence, doing your daily rituals, and yet her body is fermenting and molding in some corner while you imagine that she's still alive or still still in existence.
Uh,
I know it's kind of fantastical, but I was just saying for example.
well, I actually saw some similar things in some other movies I've seen, but i- if I said more about that, I would be spoiling that movie. So,
Well, there is one movie that I could talk about: Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
oh,
uh,
oh yeah.
that's one film where a man imagined a life still living with his mother even after she was dead.
Uh, that movie is one we could discuss at some point.
Definitely, definitely, I would enjoy that. But in any case, uh, well, we could discuss it next week if you really wanted to.
I wouldn't
Just for the
mind.
heck of it. But in any case, um, so ultimately, what did you think about the movie in the end? I mean, did you enjoy it?
Yes, yes, I did. Uh, the ending was, well, I would say bittersweet. Like, on one hand, it's justice because this man did a lot of harm and he got what he deserved. But at the same time, we saw how much he was suffering as a result of everything he did and of what he would have probably kept doing if he hadn't been stopped. So, from what I understood, he apparently got killed by the police. So, that put an end to his wrongdoings, but at the same time, it released him from his inner demons and he is not suffering anymore. So, I would say it's a fitting ending.
Yep. And you never know. There might be because this is a short film. It's a slice of life short film. Because you get a little bit into the life of what the filmmaker is trying to, put on screen here, and you're not exactly sure which way he's trying to take it, except for the fact that obviously this man was, you know, a killer. But
Mm,
was he that other killer? How many victims did he kill? Those are left up to interpretations.
well,
How many victims he did have, because you see the articles, and yet, it doesn't entirely tell you how many victims there were. It just gives you enough to make you
I
believe.
think. I think it mentioned, I don't remember exactly, but I think it did mention some numbers. I think it mentioned 4 women and 3 children, or
Something to that effect, and that's as many victims as we know.
uh,
There could be many more that were, you know, not talked about. You never
oh,
know.
good, good point. Yeah.
But in any case, I enjoyed this, of course, because I'm an associate producer on the project. I'm one of them. That doesn't mean I'm the only one. So, um, but I've I've liked and enjoyed this director's films every time that I watch them. I got into this director when he directed another film called "The Guidebook to Killing Your Ex." um, but he had evidently directed another film with one of the producers that helped produce behind this, George Alex, which is the person who did the music for Volps. So there
Oh,
is a connection here um,
wow.
in this film to the other film. The producer, one of the producers of this short film, is is a I think a producer and somewhat helped to edit Volps as well as to put music behind it. So
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
so but other than that, what did you think about the music behind this? Did it have music? I was trying to figure that out.
I think it did.
This did have music. The music is by Alex. Uh, Ger- uh, Ger- Ger- Gerjo or Giorgio or Lex or something like that. Giorgio, Mr. Alex, if I said your name wrong, I apologize.
Yeah,
But
that can happen to me as well.
but yeah, this film was supposed to be in an anthology at one point in time, but then that anthology didn't happen. So right
Oh,
now it hasn't exactly found a home, but I'm sure that eventually that this short film will. I mean, right now it's still on the shelf. I'm sure it's out there for people to see, possibly somewhere. Maybe not, but that part I'm not sure about. But I did get a download, and I did get a signed poster that was downloadable too for my putting money into this film. So
oh,
he
that's
was
cool.
he was actually fairly cheap for getting us an associate producer. I at least wanted a copy of the film somehow, some way, so I was able to download it into my hard drive. But in any case, I went on after this to help produce a film called Spirits in the Dark by the same director, and then after that, I put money into another feature of his, which eventually became The Whispering Man, but originally it was called The Surreal Project. But you can find both of those, The Spirits in the Dark and The Whispering Man, on Amazon, eBay, and things of that nature. If you wanted to find those are two other produced projects by myself and that director. So
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Congratulations.
yeah, I couldn't put money into his last feature, but because that's when the pandemic started, and my wife was in and out of the hospital at the time, so my finances kind of went, but that's okay.
I understand.
But in any case, other than that, I think that's all that we have to talk about, unless you have something that you wanted to say about this film before we close up this discussion.
Oh, well, I'm not sure what to say aside of I hope I get to see it a few more times and connect the dots and see if I missed anything these first 2 times I saw it. It's pretty
Who knows? Maybe
interesting.
he'll eventually create an anthology where he connects stories to it or something like that.
Oh,
And maybe it'll
possibly.
make a little bit more sense that
Yeah.
way. There's always hope. But
Indeed.
in any case, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the stuff from the that happened on the last recording. We are not
Yeah.
always like that, but I hope that we got our points across, and it was
Yeah.
understandable even in between all that stuff. So,
Yeah,
in
I'm
any,
sorry for
I
my
blame
technical issues.
I blame Volks.
Not this guy from Echoes.
It- well, I blame the echoes of Volks. There we go.
Nice one.
But in any case, stay tuned for more. As next week, I think we're going to go on about Psycho.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I mean, I think my group's gone on about it, but you and I have not. I
Yeah.
love bringing out that film to watch from time to time. It's kind of cool. Have you ever seen it?
I think I might have seen it, but quite a while ago, so I don't remember it very well anymore. I definitely should check it out again.
Okay. Well, we'll go backwards in time and maybe the next week we'll discuss another movie that has to do with the person that Psycho was based on. It's based on
Oh,
a serial killer from here in Wisconsin.
oh, uh,
So
so it
in
was
any
based
case,
on a true story.
yep. In any
Oh,
case,
I didn't know that.
talk to you later, ladies and gentlemen. Thank
Mm,
you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Please like, share, and subscribe. And good night, good afternoon, and good
yeah.
morning.
Thank you for listening.